to call to order the Capital Improvement Committee meeting of Wednesday, June 22nd, 2022 at 10:13 a.m. First item on our agenda is reorganization. So we need a motion for a chairperson and a vice chairperson.
I nominate Mike Fitzpatrick. I think you've done a phenomenal job this past year.
I'll second that.
Is there any other nominations?
I move nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay, so I guess that was cut and short.
All in-
You want to do this?
No,
Okay.
but come on.
Settle down. You in a hurry? If you came on time, we could have been out of here by now.
All right, Mike.
So if there's no other, excuse
Should
me?
rescind her nomination. You didn't have the vote yet.
No, she can rescind it. I'm not going to fight it.
Thanks.
You want to rethink that nomination, Ms.
No.
Mazinski? No?
No.
Okay. Any further discussion on that? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Aye. No. I need a motion for a vice chairperson. In the
Do we
event
have
that-
one now?
Yes, we do. Mr. DeCino has filled in that position. So we need one in the event that I don't make the meeting or whatever. Because I am absent quite a bit.
I nominate Ben.
So,
And I'll nominate Ben.
No, okay.
all right, have a nomination for Ben DeCino. Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
We have 3 or
2
4 of
seconds.
those. So any further discussion?
I move nominations be closed.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? No. So, okay, so we're past that.
No, you have to vote now.
What's that?
Did-
We just voted.
No, we voted to have the nominations closed.
Okay, so we did it the same way. So we're going to go back to the previous nomination for the chairperson because we only voted once on that. So if we're going to do it that way on that one, all in favor for the nomination for the chair position?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? All in favor for the vice chair position?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Both were unanimous, and the appointment is myself as chairman and Ben DeCino as vice chairman. Can I move on to the next one? We good? Yep. All right. Second thing on our agenda is the discussion about the special stabilization account that we discussed at one of our last couple meetings. In your folder, I had printed out this description from the Division of Local Services, Mass Department of Revenue. I don't know if anybody's had a opportunity to read through it. It gives you an example in the beginning. The whole thought process behind this is to try to help us moving forward on our capital projects, because as these large purchases come in, it takes way too much away from our capital budget, and it prohibits us from fixing things that really need to be fixed. We had voted on our 5-year plan to put in a $100,000 out of our annual free cash account that's going to be for the capital projects. And it's only a recommendation because we can't dictate what happens on future boards and committees, as I've been so frequently reminded. So I would like to entertain setting up this special stabilization account. We're going to have to draft up the language, if it goes forward, draft up the language for it and hopefully present it at the fall town meeting. I did have the finance director check into it, and it doesn't have to be at the annual town meeting. It can be at either or. So if there's any discussion on this, should start it now.
Is there a template, Mike, we can use?
A template
The
for
language for?
the language, yeah, there's different ones that we can use. If everybody's comfortable with it, I would like to do it the way we've been doing it, just go around the table, we'll go one by one, that way everybody has an opportunity to speak about it. Do you have anything else on that?
I say we go for it, absolutely.
Right, so what I want to do is, before we get into the voting of that part of it, just to get everybody's comments, so that way we can hash them out, any concerns that we have. So the language portion of it, that'll come afterwards, we'll do that in another meeting. I'll work with Jean and try to put something together.
Yeah, typically, I like to look at what other towns have approved because it's already gone through their council.
Yes.
I don't, if we can
Yep.
copy a draft language, that's usually the best. 'cause
Right.
It's already
Yep.
vetted.
Yep. Yeah, it's real simple. The ones that I've seen online, the town of Drake did it in June 30th of 2020. They did one, I think it was for school repairs or school roof or something like that. Ellie, do you have?
I have a question.
Yes.
And Jean, you must know the answer to this. The library is doing one of these things for its building repair stuff. And we were told that we could not use any state funds. We get a grant from the state, from the Board of Library Commissioners every year. And we were hoping to be able to put some of that money into this account. And apparently you can't put state funds.
And the state funds are kept in grants, in the grant section of the general ledger.
Okay, so
but
that's,
this would not, the way I'm understanding this would be
Yep.
funded is no different than what we include as a transfer to OPEB. So it would be a line item on the operating budget, and it's just being, like, we transfer to OPEB 50,000 every year.
Yeah.
So the town votes it as part of its budget, and then I do the recording of the transfer as part of my journal entries, and it goes in
yeah,
some fund.
right.
Yeah.
But Chapter 90 funds, you couldn't take any of the Chapter 90 funds and put them in this type of fund. It has to go
They're in
to
their own
grants.
account.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I just wanted everybody,
Nope, and you
understand that.
said something during that I just want to make sure that we're clear on. You said that you said two things. The library is setting up the same thing
or we've already set it up.
as a special stabilization account, or hasn't gone through town meeting, so
No,
that,
we don't have to. Matt had reviewed it all, and Cheryl had too. And you've been sort of in on those
I-
discussions.
Don't know
Not,
the,
yeah, well, it may be an account, but it's not this. This is specific for
so
what
this
it's
is money
intended
that's
for.
coming directly to the library trustees.
Right, so it's probably some sort of reserve fund, if I use the terminology properly, Gene. If not, throw something at me. But it's not a stabilization account. That would have to go to town meeting. That's what this in here, it explains it, that you need 2/3 votes to create this. And it has to be specific what you want it for. And then that can be changed at any point with 2/3 votes. And it also needs 2/3 votes to get the money back out.
No, that's not what the.
Yeah, so it's a little different than what you're doing. I just wanted to make sure that anybody that pays attention to our exciting meetings doesn't misunderstand, because you said that you were putting the library money into this account. And it's-
Bartholomew fund that the stabilization fund is in, but also the cemetery funds are in there.
that
and
is an
scholarship.
investment, that's
Yeah.
different than this.
Different than
That's
this,
just
yeah.
how the money's invested, and that's done by the treasurer collector. So the stabilization, the general stabilization fund is invested through Bartholomew.
Yeah,
That's not what this is, though. This is the mechanics of setting up the account. How it's invested is done differently
okay.
through the treasurer's office.
But in here, there is some wording in here about being an interest-bearing account, and the interest from that would remain in this
Correct.
For the capital purposes.
for this particular stabilization account. Yes. It wouldn't go somewhere else. It would stay within this. This is going to be its own little thing.
But I'm in favor of it, too.
Yep. I think it's a good thing for the town. It's going to help us long-term. It's going to take a lot of stress out of everybody that's involved in trying to do this long past all of us sitting here, hopefully. It continues on. So that's why I've been a little aggressive trying to push it through.
I'm also happy that it's more general now than specific to one item.
It hasn't, it actually, it's not established as of yet, so this here is general, this isn't, and by no means the template for what we're gonna do. This is just a guideline on how you're gonna set it up. So I actually, I'll wait and we'll go through the whole process, and then I'll give, I don't wanna put my thoughts in anybody's head until I hear everybody else's comments, so. Chief, any,
Well, I think it's a good thing, but I
Yeah.
think the purpose is to buy large fire apparatus, if I remember correctly.
that's what, yeah, that's what my intention was
Because
at the
because of
beginning.
high
because
prices of, we gotta chip
the,
away.
the pains of what we're going through on this committee every 5 years is just difficult. This past year, we just, between the Chapter 90, which we need to fix the roads, and the purchase of the truck that we just replaced, that was the 99 or the 01? The 99. Pretty much ate up our whole budget. And that's what made me start thinking about this. As I stated multiple times, I talked to the finance director, I talked to the town administrator, I said, there's got to be a way to do this, and he kept going, and then I got online and I started searching this stuff. I'm like, aha, I think I found it. So then I came in and we talked about it, and that's how we get to where we are today. Anything else, Chief? No. Shirley?
I'm in favor of it, mainly because, looking at the 5-year plan and and the capital plan, every year we cannot afford to take, and there's a need for replacing fire trucks or
I thought I should
big
talk about-
apparatus. So every year, we have to hold off on other things that are needed. So I'm in favor.
Yeah. Brandon?
I would echo her comments in favor for it. I think it's a great idea.
Yeah. Anything to add? Okay, so, and this was my thoughts, and I know there's general concerns around about, there's a lot of things that we need to fix in town and stuff. And we can't do it all at once. But this is based on the information provided by the fire department. We have a 1999, a 2001, a 2005, and a 2017 truck. So the 2017 truck was 5 years ago, now we're buying another one. It's going to be crucial for this to be a success, to have the fire department do whatever they can to pull a rabbit out of their hat and stretch out the time
Oh, we're good at that.
for the, well, but it's going to be important that we do this, because if we only save for a year or two and we're back trying to find another truck, it's wasted effort. It's just not going to work. If we take the funds and we put them somewhere else, or use them for somewhere else, and it's up to the 2/3 of the people at the town meeting to vote whichever way, we have no control over that, then it just defeats the whole idea behind this. This is to help us long-term, and it actually, I think it may even be, put us into a better position rating-wise. Is that correct, Gene? If we set up something like this, does this put us in a better credit rating?
I can't answer that.
No, yeah, I just,
It always shows positive
it's
steps towards
proactive, a
the-
proactive approach to
But I don't know
a
what-
continuing problem that we have.
I just think it's a good thing, either if you use a special stabilization or regular stabilization, it shows the town's looking at the future needs that it's addressing.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just, and the reason why, and you talked to me at the beginning, was just use the regular stabilization account. In my mind, it's like a savings account.
No, I understand.
And that's, yeah, and I'm just putting it out there so everybody understands what the conversation we had, is I look at that as a savings account, and that's a last resort to use type thing. So I'm hesitant to make that as the go-to when we want something.
No, and I think it's important to understand, and, we have that conversation a lot. It's important if you have that same feeling that someone else may have, and this is a tool that you can use so that
Right.
people can segregate that and feel comfortable saying, this is my purchase account, and be able to draw that down without feeling like they're going against a savings
Yeah.
account.
Yes, Shirley.
Like, at the same time, I think the ladder truck was the one that, because I was on the Board of Selectmen at the time, and we got that through a grant, I believe, which I remember writing a letter, getting the support of Senator Kerry and others, and we did manage to get that. And we'll continue to look out for those types of deals.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how we got our SCBA
Yeah.
as well.
Yeah, and the grants that they've applied for this year and they've obtained, it shows that they're actively trying to
Absolutely.
get grants as much as they can. I think Kelly's pretty on top of that stuff, watching it all the time, trying to figure out where she can apply and come up with her creative wording and see what she can get. But I don't know what the feeling is. If this is something we want to pursue, then we should probably take a vote on it, and then we'll have to draft something up for the next meeting and look at it and see if that's how we want to do it. So I would entertain a
I'll make a
motion
motion to move forward with the special account.
creating the special stabilization account.
Second the motion.
Any conversation, any other conversation on this?
So it's just called special stabilization account, or?
It's gonna have a specific label to it. You have your regular stabilization account, and November 17, 2016, the state said that you can create multiple stabilization accounts, and that's where special stabilization accounts. So this will become a special stabilization account with a specific purpose. In the, what even started this, and I'll repeat it again, was the purchase of these large fire trucks. That's what I would like to see us do, is create this for the purchase of these large fire trucks. If we put $100,000 in, such as we did on our projected 5-year plan, in year 5, he would have $500,000, or the town, I shouldn't say he, the town would have $500,000 in this account. And that current truck, what is your quotes coming in at?
Over 700.
So we would be $200,000 short. Anything that comes before us, $200,000 is really an easy touch for us to do on the capital, because we're dealing with a decent capital amount. If we have something that's over $500,000, that's very compromising to our entire budget. So,
Well, I just would say that I'm in favor of a more general account as opposed to specifically saying it's for fire.
Yep.
I think having the intention of that and not writing it down, I'll agree to that, but I just don't want to say that this is all going to be for fire forever and ever and ever.
It's not forever and ever and ever, because it can be changed at any point with 2/3 votes. So that needs to be clear.
That's not an easy thing to do, Mike.
I'm not saying it is an easy thing to do, but we're trying to solve a problem that we're faced with.
I know you are, but if you keep it, so you're not specifically saying this is just for fire engines, I think that that's good.
Okay, so-
But I'm supporting, I would support it right now, but if all of a sudden, the municipal center burned down, we needed a building, we could use some of that. you know, for another emergency that comes along. Just like the whatever those things are called with radios.
Right.
That-
Yeah.
You
No,
know, that-
and I hear what you're saying, and I don't like to be pigeonholed into anything myself. I hear what you're saying, and the reason why I keep going back and forth with this is it's such a large purchase that we're faced with, and if we don't come up with a good plan on how to satisfy that purchase every 5 years, we're very close to getting into a 5-year rotation. This puts us, we only have 4 trucks, and now we're at the 50% mark. My understanding is the ladder truck's in very good condition for a truck of its age. So the next one there, is that a tanker truck that's there, the 2001?
Yes.
It's a tanker truck that he has. He's gonna have to try to stretch that out and get that to where it needs to be. If we do use that money for anything other than, and I would say this at a town meeting, if this was created, and somebody wanted to use it to buy a new lawnmower, I'm just gonna use a silly example, I would stand up and I would be very adamant about the fact that if we do it for anything other than what we created it for, you're defeating the whole mentality behind it. Now, on the other side of that is, I don't want to turn around and every single year we're putting $100,000 into this account, and now it's up to $1 million because we haven't bought any trucks. That doesn't make any sense. At some point, as a town, the people voting should say, okay, we have enough in there to stabilize that thing, relax. If it's something else that we need and that we want to save for, then maybe you consider an additional stabilization account. I know Gene will poke me in the eye for saying that because it creates work for her. I don't want to burden her with work, but taking this for anything, it's only because it's a reoccurring thing. If it was, I use the highway bond, if we created a special stabilization account to build the highway bond, and in 10 years we're going to use that money and then we're going to build a highway bond, that's a one and done, it's gone. It's going to be another 40 or 50 years before they look
Yeah,
Uh,
at it.
and this is the whole reason why you don't want to keep it specific to one item. And also, just on another note, how many debt exclusions have been used for fire engines or fire equipment?
Well, that's what we're trying to get away from.
I know, but why? I mean, because that's something that the community is in favor of safety and, you know, supporting this fire department. So I think there is, you know, an option to do that, but I'm not saying that that's what we should do. I like this idea of saving for capital expenses, but I just don't want it put aside so I can't buy that lawnmower. You know,
Yes,
that's-
Chief.
I could reword my motion and just.
No,
vote on
no,
it, where it goes.
so let's just, we're not identifying the label or anything else. All we're doing now is we're coming to a conclusion whether or not we all agree or disagree to, or the majority, to create this special stabilization account. All right, it's still got to go to town meeting and all that other stuff. We're gonna have further discussion before we even get to that point. But this is just the initial conversation, just to see if it makes sense for us as a committee to help alleviate some of the challenges that we have. So that's the whole purpose of that. So debt exclusion, something like that, for something that's going to last an extraordinary long period of time, in my mind, makes sense. Something that you're going to be buying every 5 years doesn't make a lot of sense to me, because by the time he gets to, in 10 years, the 2017 needs to be replaced. So this is a continuing thing that just, until somebody comes up with a better way to prevent fires or put out fires, it's gonna constantly come up. If it was something low cost like the police department cruisers, and they could put it in their budget and absorb that, that's easy. This large purchase, there's no possible way. It represents 70% of our budget on a capital budget. So that's the whole reason behind it. And it's just something for all of us, and this is just we're just a group, and we're just talking and coming to a consensus. Everybody voices their opinion. I hear everything you're saying, and I don't totally disagree with you. I'm just concerned that if we don't earmark it and stay on track, you're never going to achieve what we're trying to do. But it can be, if something else comes up and is a good selling point, then at any point, and I know it's a challenge, but you could get 2/3 votes to take that money out of the account or relabel it.
So your motion was to create,
Just to move forward in creating the special stabilization.
okay, so
Yeah,
that's all.
That's all it is. There's nothing other than that. But this is all healthy discussion, because I don't want to keep going meeting after meeting, and then at the last minute we get hit. We all need to talk about it. Everybody will digest it. When we come the next time, maybe I agree with you. Who knows? It's just part of the conversation. So we have a motion to move forward in creating the special stabilization account, because we're not creating it until it gets voted on at town meeting, but to move forward in that process, I need a second on that.
Second.
Second from Mr. Vandenberg. I don't know if Brandon did or not, but we're just,
I second.
Shirley
Okay.
seconded it.
all right. So you'll take 2.5, Mr. Vandenberg.
Just to comment further, Ellie, I know you brought up the regular stabilization. To me, that is when we have to do something really big. That's sort of
An extraordinary,
yeah, and that's there to support any funds or loans that we have to go and look forward, to do. It's there for our, because we need good credit, but also, okay, we've got this amount of money in stabilization, they'll look more favorably, whether it's a disaster or what, to loan us money to move ahead for replacing or doing whatever we have to do in the town to get back on track. I wouldn't want to see, we did this once, that's why we got stabilization established, because we needed a fire truck. And here we are. But we need a more money in a stabilization.
Yeah.
I mean, right now, what do we have?
Well, I don't know the number off my top, but you want 5% your stabilization and 5% free cash of your operating budget.
Yeah.
Those are the numbers that the bonding agencies do you. So there is a minimum that you would look to have in a stabilization account.
But it's there.
and we
as a
run
backup.
about 4%, right?
Yeah.
Somewhere around there, 2.7.
Yeah, it's between, probably, because I didn't look at it in comparison.
It's not up to 5 and it's not under 4, it's
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
But
Yeah.
you get my drift. We need
Right,
that
and there's a
as
minimum that you want to maintain.
Yeah.
Because you want to maintain that minimum, like around 5%
Yeah.
stabilization and 5% free cash. Those are key indicators that the bonding agents do look
Yeah.
at.
Anybody else have anything before we vote on this?
I wouldn't mind being called, I don't know if Ken said special purpose stabilization funds or
No, he just says
special
it-
stabilization funds, because it says special purpose stabilization fund. I wouldn't mind it saying instead of purpose, capital, special capital stabilization funds.
Yeah, all we're doing is voting to move forward and pursuing this. So
Okay.
this isn't creating anything, there's no label, there's no wording, but I want special in there so it's not confusing to anybody watching us that it's a special stabilization account. So whether it's purpose or whatever ultimately gets put into the wording, it'll happen. So, but that's a good point that you had. So we have a motion to move forward in creating the special stabilization account, seconded by Shirley and 2.5 by Mr. Vandenberg. And we've exhausted our conversation, so all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Okay, so now we have a bunch of minutes. I don't know if anybody's looked through them at all. We have,
Mike, can I ask one question about the fund?
all right.
So Gene, in the letter, it says, under Mass General Laws 59, paragraph 21, the community may also take advantage of a unique funding source. What do they mean by that?
You can dedicate a funding source.
Okay.
And I'm not sure what they mean in this particular one. So like if you took a vote where you'd want it, your meals tax, you know, town meeting can vote that all meals tax is kind of like dedicated to that
I see.
capital or
Okay.
special stabilization account.
Okay.
We generally don't restrict it. And the mechanics of it haven't been worked out.
Right.
But you have to be careful because you can't use a dedicated funding source that you're already using for the operational budget, because then you're just going to cause a problem there.
Gotcha.
So you have to look at, you know, what the current source of revenue is being used for, and then figure out what makes sense to fund this.
Okay, thanks. Thank you, Mike.
Yep. Okay, so we have a group of minutes, March 14th, March 21st, March 24th, April 4th, and April 8th.
I move we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of March 14th, 2022 as presented.
Everybody else had an opportunity to peek through them?
Yes. Second.
You good with them? Yep. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All opposed? He's out in the hall. Okay, so March 14th is approved.
I move we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of March 21st, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Have a motion and seconded. Any comments, edits? All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? He's still out in the hall.
I move we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of April 4th, 2022 as presented.
24?
Not March 24th?
I'm
March
sorry,
24th?
4th.
No, you're on April 4th, right?
One before that.
Yes,
What
You-
about March 24th?
March 20,
So
yeah, March 20,
you want to do March 24th?
yes.
Okay.
Sorry.
All right, we voted for you. You already approved March 14th and March 21st.
Sure.
So now we're on March 24th. There's a motion to approve the minutes. I need a second.
Second.
Second by Mr. Vandenberg. Any conversation? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? He's back in the room. He hasn't said anything yet. So April 4th is up.
Move we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of April 4th, 2022 as presented.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded. Any conversation? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Those are approved. April 8th, please.
Move we approve the Capital Improvement Committee meeting minutes of April 8th.
Second.
Made and seconded. He did speak finally, before the end of the meeting. Any conversations on that? Seeing as none, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Anybody opposed? No. Okay, what is the desire for our next meeting?
I think 10 in the morning is good.
10 in the morning? Fine, I'll make that work if it works for everybody else.
Yep.
Do we want to, let's see, let me pull up the calendar. So, 1, 2, so,
So Mike, are you trying to get this, work on this whatever it's called.
Yeah, the special stabilization
Yeah, yeah,
account. Yeah, that's what I want to have the next meeting for. We'll look at
So
that.
what our deadline is to get it on the fall town meeting.
Yeah, I would like to get it on the fall town meeting, so in the next 2 to 3 weeks, I would like to, and then meet again on it, just so we can get it done. It cannot be on a Thursday.
It cannot be on a Thursday.
No?
How about Wednesday, July 13th?
Well, I don't like Wednesday
Okay.
morning. I mean, I
Gene
can
doesn't
do
like
it, but it
Thursdays
just-
because it's payroll day, so we don't meet on Thursdays.
but-
That's a critical thing. We'll have a mob out there if we hold up.
What about the 12th, a Tuesday?
All days are fine for me.
Yeah.
So.
How do you look
Fine,
at,
fine.
you look on
How-
July 12th, good?
How
Yeah,
soon
no,
do
much
we
better
have to
than-
get this in, Mike?
What was the beginning?
When they start doing the warrant for.
Yeah, we don't need this till the end of August,
When's the special town meeting? What?
November.
November what?
Yeah.
You know yet?
I don't know the dates, usually
Yeah.
usually the second week in
The
November.
second Monday?
We try to avoid the Thanksgiving week, so we usually try to have it that. Depends where Veterans Day falls, but it's usually the second week of November.
We pretty much hashed out the concept. So now it's just going to come down to the proper wording and how it's going to be presented at town meeting. So
Legalese.
it's not, I don't think it's going to take a tremendous amount of our time to do it.
Yep.
So if everybody's good on July 12th at 10 a.m., then we'll just set it for that.
That
So,
works.
July 12th.
Oh, I have a conflict that morning, Mike, so I won't. Looking at my other calendar. That's rare.
Just as I wrote it in my calendar.
Well, you guys can still carry that.
I won't.
Well, I would rather have your input
Yeah.
into it.
Okay.
The next one, the 19th, would that work? Is that,
the
we have
night-
till November, right?
Yeah, yeah. The 19th work for everybody? Yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Change your calendar, Shirley. You should. Did you check your other
Absolutely,
calendar?
sir, Yeah,
You want- We'll give you a couple more minutes in case you gotta
I am good.
phone a friend. I would prefer that everybody's here for this. It's an important thing that we need to do, and I want everybody's input. If we're good, entertain a motion to adjourn,
So move.
unless somebody else has anything else. No? Motion's been made. We have, second's been made. All in favor?
I.
Aye.
All opposed? Don't hear any.